Hi everybody, welcome back to the Captain's HR weekly live stream. I am your host, Daniella Young, author, TEDx speaker, combat veteran, and organizational culture hacker. Every week I do a blog post where we discuss and deep dive into one idea of culture, workplace culture, organizational culture, overall culture, what have you. This week, of course, coming off of Martin Luther King weekend and holiday, we are going to discuss 3 leadership lessons that can be learned from Martin Luther King. And Martin Luther King, of course, was an incredibly visionary leader who changed American culture forever. This week, in the interest of transparency, the blog post on our site and that you will see shared across all our social media is borrowed, incredibly well written, and so we have shared it for your edification and we'll be discussing it. Of course, over a 3-day weekend, holiday, it's always kind of important to think about why we have this holiday, because they're usually for important things, right? Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Martin Luther King. These are all important things that make up our culture and have impacted who we all are as Americans. So while you're doing your barbecues or out getting your good deals and shopping, take the time to think about why we are having a day off. So of course, Martin Luther King, larger than life leader, and here are 3 leadership lessons that Dr. King gave the world that can be extremely important for entrepreneurs, business leaders, or anyone else. Leadership lesson number 1 is you must have total commitment to your cause. Dr. King was a visionary. He had, dream bigger. Obviously, I have a dream speech. He was able to bring his vision to America, looking well past the times that he lived in, and really demonstrates what true visionary leaders are all about. One of my favorite quotes from Dr. King is, "You don't have to see the whole staircase to just take the first step," which is, of course, so important for anyone that has been in business. Obviously, his I Have a Dream speech brought awareness and humanity to the sort of emerging national consciousness at the time about civil rights in America. He, took this extremely politically active stance, but through doing it in the nonviolent way that he chose to do it, which was a bit unique at the time, he was able to really cast a different kind of light on his social movement and led the social movement of equality at a time when equality was not a supported idea in our country. Even when he knew his cause was unpopular and his life was in danger, he remained committed to his vision. He was arrested almost 25 times and assaulted at least 4 reported times. So not that all leaders, need to go get arrested, go get physically assaulted, or, go get martyred for your cause, but it is important to ask ourselves and think about, how committed are we to our causes? How good are we at motivating our people? Leadership lessons number 2 is disrupting the status quo is essential for change. This is one of my favorite topics because, of course, it is so easy to say, and we hear all the time, back in the good old days, oh, the world is changing so much, oh, people are so sensitive. And really an important kind of perspective to look at is, no, the world is changing because progress is being made. And if the status quo isn't disrupted, if we're staying the same, we're just getting stagnated. Dr. King is honored and revered today, but he was not embraced by society during the time he was alive. He knew that his dream of equality was more important than keeping the status quo. And in fact, he had to fight with a lot of members of the colored community that were so scared and so afraid that the changing of the status quo could only make things worse. And so he had to fight sort of his own people while in being involved in activism for their sakes, and as well as fighting against the actual people that he was fighting against. But he was able through this to shake up the popular culture of the time and to really and completely evolve and innovate. And that is, of course, absolutely necessary if you want change. So how can you shake up the status quo in your industry or in your corporate culture or business values? Leadership lesson number 3 is, of course, when we're talking about MLK, have a dream and then communicate it and do it. We can all have really big dreams. We probably all have that friend that swears that they were the first one to invent Facebook. But once you have your dream, how have you communicated it to your team and your people? And then what are you doing to actually put it into place? Get out there, do something new. Don't be scared. By the way, the I Have a Dream speech was off the cuff. Not everybody knows this. Martin Luther was actually speaking for many minutes and was kind of losing his crowd, and all of a sudden he decided he was just going to throw caution to the wind, lose the script, and speak from the heart. And the last 5 minutes of his speech became the important I Have a Dream speech that, of course, will go down in history forever. So, it's really a good time to ask ourselves, how effective is our dream if we're not communicating it? What is the vision for the company, for the team? Does the staff all understand it? Is it displayed somewhere? How do you talk about your actions and campaigns and products and tie that all back into your vision? Because that's such an important point. I love the author of this, where she writes, "Dreaming without doing is for childhood. Real leaders have big dreams, take big steps to communicate them, and then they go take big actions." Dr. King's actions, of course, made him one of the great leaders of the 20th century. He was Time Magazine's Man of the Year in 1963 and a Nobel Peace Prize winner in 1964. So the question today is, how do you plan to turn your dream into doing? Thank you so much for joining us once again. I am Daniella Mestinek-Young, author, TEDx speaker, combat veteran, and organizational culture hacker. Our live streams are brought to you by Cavness HR, an incredibly cool HR tech company that is innovating the future of HR business for small businesses. So if you have 49 or fewer employees and you don't have or need a full-time HR representative, give us a call today. We may be able to help you take care of your HR so that you can handle growing your business. Thank you so much, and remember to be great today.